So let's see. I think it's been a month and a half since I officially left the voiceover community. And since I stopped working as a full-time voice actor. I was 17 years young when I first used my voice on Dutch National Public Radio. And I'm 61 now, so I effectively ended a career of 44 years. In addition, I've been a very vocal member of my voiceover community, writing a weekly blog for more than 20 years, doing interviews, being a guest on podcasts and a presenter at voiceover conferences. And saying goodbye to all of the above wasn't easy, not gonna lie. And if you want to know what all my reasons are for leaving the voiceover industry, well, I have a 15-part series on my YouTube channel and on TikTok as well. And you can also find it on Instagram. So how did people react? And what's it like to not be involved in voiceovers anymore? Well, in the first few weeks after my announcement, I was pleasantly inundated with kind, sweet messages of appreciation and sadness that came from all over the globe. Yes, some folks were sad I had hung up my blogging hat, and they thanked me for being a voice who dared to say what others were afraid of saying. I can literally copy and paste hundreds of complimentary comments from colleagues, but that seems so self-serving for someone who's always been in it for the music and not for the applause. Although I will admit that it's awfully nice to hear people clap, since there's no farewell party for the self-employed. When I left the business, I was honestly wondering if I had ever made an impact on more than a few people, or if I had ever moved the proverbial needle in a positive way. Now, having read all the comments, I now have visible proof that I did touch a few lives here and there, which was quite gratifying. Now, here's something that took me by surprise. After having explained my many reasons for leaving voiceovers, not one person gave me any pushback. Not one colleague told me they disagreed with my rather damning analysis of the industry. Only one person said that I sounded a bit out of character. But that was it. As far as I can tell, most of the people who watched my videos and who are watching my videos and read my blog are still active as voiceovers. So there must be something keeping them in an industry that I think is rapidly becoming less relevant. Perhaps I sounded too much like a canary in what used to be a gold mine, and people are too focused on digging from gig to gig to gig to make a living in the dark. Well, didn't I tell them to mind their own business? That's what I tell people. Mind your own business. I also noticed that people congratulated me on my retirement, even though I had made it very clear, I thought, that I wasn't retiring at all. I was simply shifting my focus a little bit. I'm still recording voiceovers for my old clients, and I'm open to interesting new projects with a decent budget, a reasonable budget. I just talked to a client today and I said, if you have something that pays well and I find really interesting, hit me up. I'm happy to do it. However, I'm no longer actively auditioning for anything, and I can't describe how good that feels. Also, you may have seen that I still talk about voiceovers on sites like this. And after all, it's something that I know quite a little bit about. And it's what some people expect from me. And between you and me, I'm using this platform as a learning experience to make myself a little bit more comfortable in front of a camera, talking off the cuff, writing blog posts. Gives me time to organize and edit my thoughts. And when I'm vlogging, like I'm doing now, I'm basically improvising, which, as you can probably tell, is not so easy for me. It's challenging. That's why I'm using a teleprompter right now. I have to search for words, and I'm not nearly as articulate as I hope I am as I'm writing things down in my blog. But vlogging allows me to reach a new audience, and it forces me to keep on tickling my brain cells a little bit. Now, here's one last observation I want to pass on to you. I've talked about things that pleasantly surprised me, but here's one thing that really disappointed me after I called it quits. Now, I totally realize that we live in an out of sight, out of mind time. People tend to flock to the flavor of the week and to whatever makes the headlines. What's in the past is history and thus is old news. I am old news, and one day you will be too. Now call me weird, but I believe in the wisdom of elders. I believe in passing the baton and in learning from those on whose shoulders we stand. There are so many blogs, so many podcasts and YouTube channels in our community where they interview so-called experts who have been in the business for no more than 5 years. I once listened to an hour-long interview with a self-styled Instagram influencer on growing your social media, and this person had no more than 500 followers, whereas I at that time had over 5,000, and that was before my Instagram account got hacked. And even 5,000 followers is no big deal these days, as you know. Anyway, after I announced my departure, I would have expected at least 1 or 2 people to be interested in doing some kind of an exit interview with me, or perhaps ask me to write a guest post for their blog. After all, I believe we can learn more from someone who's outspoken, with 40 plus years of international experience, than from someone who only 4 years ago took an introductory voiceover training and has a free Fiverr account. But what do I know? What do I know? It's literally none of my business anymore. So let's end on a happy note, shall we? I love my life after VO. Yes, I do. This short Vermont summer was wet but very wonderful, and the trees are already coloring for fall. I've been helping my wife with the PR for her business, and I'm slowly learning how to make my mark on more visual types of social media, as you can tell. I've also learned how to completely strip and refinish our huge deck, and how to do simple home repairs as someone who was born with 2 left hands. And when it gets colder and we need to spend more time inside, I'll take up my writing project, which I'm very excited about, but I can't tell you anything about either. Now, if you have recently left the voiceover industry, or you're seriously thinking about it, I'd love to hear from you in the comments section. What were your reasons for leaving? Or what's keeping you in the business? And what are you going to do now that you have left? How do you see the future of voiceovers in a world of artificial intelligence? And if you're staying, how exactly are you future-proofing your career? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you, because I'm sure all of us who are watching right now can benefit from your experience as well. I'll see you soon, okay?